We live in a world obsessed with virality, where clickbait headlines replace myths, gossip replaces philosophy, and scandal is read like scripture. Truth has become entertainment, entertainment pretends to be the truth, and in all this confusion, one person, Giovanni Boccaccio, would have felt right at home. He knew centuries ago that what we still struggle to admit today, that stories, even the wild, funny, sinful, absurd stories, carry the soul of a culture. And that fiction, far from being a lie, is probably the only way left to tell the truth. Welcome to Literary Lenses, the series that travels through time to understand how literature was meant to move, teach, and change us. Today, we meet a man who defended fiction in spite of its lies and because of its truths. Born in 1313 in Italy, Giovanni Boccaccio is best known for a work called the Decameron, a collective of 100 tales told by 10 young nobles who were escaping the Black Death. But beyond his storytelling, Boccaccio was a literary theorist, humanist, and a mythographer. He believed literature had a moral, emotional, and intellectual function, even when it was fictional. At a time when fiction was still seen with suspicion, Boccaccio made a bold claim. And remember, we're talking about the 14th century. He said, poetry is not just entertainment, it's a vessel of knowledge. He wrote a massive 15-book treatise on classical mythology, a book that was not just a catalogue. It was a defense of poetry itself. It was called Genealogia, deorum, gentilium, the first handbook of literary criticism, arguably. He argued, number one, that myths contain deep moral and philosophical truths hidden in symbolic language. Think about the Mahabharata and Ramayana for modern context. Number two, he promoted allegorical interpretation as a way to access divine or ethical meanings. And number three, he anticipated later humanists by linking poetry, philosophy, and theology. Think about Wordsworth. He even dared to say that ancient pagan poets may have understood divine truth better than some medieval clerics. Bold move in the 14th century. Bold move. So what was Boccaccio's critical philosophy? Here's what he stood for. Number one, fiction reveals truth. Truth is not always literal. It's not always black and white. Sometimes it's symbolic. Number two, readers must interpret deeply. The surface is not the meaning. The story is just a lens through which you have to then look at the real world. And number three, writers are constructors of meaning, not liars, but moral architects. For Boccaccio, myth was not outdated nonsense. It was timeless coding, if I may, waiting to be decrypted. What have you decrypted lately? Boccaccio teaches us how to respect the power of fiction without reducing it to escapism, how to blend intellect and imagination, that the reader's job is interpretation, not consumption at all. He shows writers can challenge culture, preserve myth, and still entertain. He was in many ways a precursor to the Renaissance mind, skeptical, curious, and utterly in love with the written word. While Dante, something that we discussed in the last episode, while Dante mapped the divine, Boccaccio mapped the human. Flawed, funny, clever, lustful, brave. His impact can be seen in Renaissance humanism, the legitimation of vernacular fiction, as well as the shift from theological to human-centered criticism. In other words, Boccaccio helped the world realize we are not just vessels of sin or virtue, we are stories waiting to be told. The Decameron taught us how to laugh at fear. Genealogia taught us how to respect myth. Boccaccio taught us that fiction is the most human thing we have got. See you in the next episode.